Thank you for watching Lord Duncan's Rock and World. We've got a special guest this week, Mr. Patrick Harms, right over here,
What's
ladies
up?
and gentlemen. Give me a round of crowd noise for that. I have still yet to get some sound effects added on here, but that is my next goal. I just heard One Barn Lepagus had a couple noises today, and they've been doing it a lot longer than me, so I think I'm going to be jumping the gun on them as far as me getting it done. But anyways, how you doing today, Harmsy?
I'm doing pretty good. Actually, if you want, go to their Instagram. You'll see all stuff from like when they first started. It's fun.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. So where are you from originally? You from Minnesota or other places?
I'm actually from Minnesota. I was born in Waconia. I lived in Carver County for 5 years.
It's just east of Mankato, right?
What's that?
East of Mankato?
Just west of the cities.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of like Wadena or something like that.
Well, yeah, Waconia.
Waconia, okay.
Just west of the cities, right by Chaska, if you're familiar with that.
Sure. Yep. I lived in Howard Lake for a while, then Olivia as well. If you see the picture of me by the corn cob, that's Olivia. It's the giant corn cob over a picnic table because that's the corn capital of Minnesota. So. They actually had Olivia Newton-John as the Grand Marshal back in '78 when she was like at her heyday. Somehow they got her to do it. She just said, "Sure, I'll do it," because she's like, no one else had asked. Why not? So that was our claim to fame in Olivia, that we had Olivia Newton-John there in '78. Oh, that and Cheryl Teague's mom lives there, and then we had Paul Douglas, the old weatherman from Channel 9, there at one point. And me being a smartass in the middle of the summer, I said, "Where's your leather jacket?" But anyway.
I don't know. Do I know who that is? I don't know if I know who that is.
Paul Douglas. Well, he was there in the 80s and 90s, but I don't think he's been a while. So, real nice guy. So, how about heritage? Everybody's an immigrant. What kind of heritage you got?
Far as I know, I'm very, very German.
Okay.
Actually, we got my aunt made a family tree book, and the town I lived in. It's like 900 people, and it turned, if I remember right, so my ancestors settled there, and they lived there for like 2 months before they found out that there was another family that lived like 2 miles from them.
Oh, another family from the old country that lived nearby.
Yeah, so like my family, the town I lived in for 5 years, Hamburg in Carver County, I believe. If that's all accurate, my ancestors like settled that town.
That's cool. Well, I can see why they liked Hamburg. Oh, hey, we know that town, Hamburg.
Yeah, it's very small.
Like with Lemmy, and when Lemmy's doing shows, Hamburg. That's not good enough. I can't hear you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or he says it in German. He says it in German. Either way,
he's a legend.
That's right. We'll get to that at some point here as well. Favorite music or any favorite concert stories?
Any favorite concert stories? Man,
one more I was saying, were you a roadie at one point?
Yeah, I kind of got into that by accident. So I have tons of concert stories, like so many. But I got into it by accident. So I would always go to, I was a big concert person, and I would go to the city I lived in here in Iowa. I was in between Iowa City and Des Moines. So I would go to Iowa City and Des Moines to shows, and those were all ages. So I moved to Cedar Rapids, and they're not all ages. You had to be 21, and I was 18 at the time.
Oh,
unless it was shows at like the arena. But
really, sometimes I have a little sectioned off for under 21 or whatever.
Oh yeah, they didn't do that here. So I was really upset. There were so many shows I wanted to go to, and so this was like in the heyday of like MySpace. So I went to it. Yeah, so I graduated in 2004. So I don't remember exactly what I did, but so I wanted to get into a show, and I couldn't. And I had met like the band, they parked their buses just out front. Like they went in usually the same door that everyone would go in. And I was in the area, so I stopped and I wonder if I can meet any of them. And I met one of the opening bands, and they're like, "Oh, you go on the show?" Like, I can't. I'm not old enough. You have to be 21. Well, you're our merch guy tonight, so you can come in. So I did, and I went awesome. In. Yeah, and I did their merch, and so I had gotten the idea, doing some networking. So I went and just saw all the bands that were coming there, and messaged them all like, "Hey, I'm underage. Is there anything I can do to, work for you guys, so I can get in the show as a minor? Like, I won't drink." So that's what I did, and there was just a few that allowed it, and I got to. Next time they came around, I did the same thing. So it just built off that, and then eventually the promoter, the club owner, caught on to it, like figured it out. I'm like, "Oh yeah, by the way," and he's like, "Well, do you just want a job here?" So
nice.
Yeah, so that's what I did, and it just went on from there, and just other bands they're like, "Hey," So I've worked with a lot of bands, and it's.
So you're doing, once you had the job, what were you doing? Like taking tickets or sweeping floors and whatever else?
When I started doing that, I was, they're called runners. So you basically, if they come in, on a bus, they have to go somewhere, and you have the crew, you just drive them around. So that's how I was making money. I was getting paid to do it. So, and then a lot of these big time bands, I'm like, "Oh my," they're just chilling in the car with me, and I'm taking them to their hotel to, and then picking them up and bringing them back to the show. So it just built off that, and that's how I got into it.
Nice. I did stagehand stuff in Denver at the Ogden, and for Motorhead, Jesus Mary Chain, Oasis, couple bands, and then also out at Fiddler's for Aerosmith and Reba McEntire. But that's like an all-day thing. You're there at 7, and you break it 3 or 4. Come back and watch the show. If you want to get fed, we'll have a big smorgasbord for you. They had steak fajitas and shit, and then you got to wait for the show to be over, then tear down. Freaking Aerosmith, I don't think we got out there until 4 in the morning. It was brutally slow. Whereas Reba McEntire was completely professional. They had all their shit out of there in an hour and a half. I was like, that's just fucking great.
Yeah, so and then I did sound and merch as well for some bands out there. So got to go to some cool places.
Sure.
Never got to go overseas though.
Right. I was a cabbie at the time as well in Denver. I had a few bands in my cab. I had the Cranberries in my cab once, and the tour manager left his car, his phone in the car. So of course I got backstage passes and free tickets and everything for taking his phone back to him. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
My old lady at the time liked seeing the Cranberries, so that was nice. And then working at the Warwick Hotel in Denver, I met George Clinton 3 times.
Cool.
He always smelled like a sweaty skunk after the show. That, and he probably smelled anyway, but at least what I heard. But then Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Savage came through for a month. They stayed there. There was Three Ninjas movie, Disney Three Ninjas movie once at the amusement park there in Denver. So they had Ernest Goes to Camp guy, Jim Varney was there, along with
cool. Yeah.
Lily Tomlin and Lonnie Anderson. Oh, and Tony Curtis was there. Tony Curtis was there with 2 20-year-old hot prostitutes, different ones every day. I shouldn't say prostitutes. They were his
They don't remember paying him.
They were his dates, or whatever you want to call it. Ladies, his escorts, whatever you want to call it, but whatever. Anyway, so those are my celebrity stories there. Oh, and then Mike Ness from Social D came through. He was a little bit of a baby. And I accidentally gave poor Tim, rest in peace, he OD'd, the guitar player. I gave him a room where the toilet was loose. I forgot to take it off the list of available rooms. He goes up there, poor guy, sit down in the toilet, and he falls on the floor because the lid was off. It was loose. He's like, "Hey, a room with a toilet that doesn't fall off?" I went, "Oh crap!" So I freaking boosted him all the way up to the Carlson room, which is this giant whole. It's the whole level suite way at the top with a baby grand. It's got 2 baby grand pianos in it and shit, and then right above it was the actual swimming pool. So he scored for that, and then Mike Ness got all pissy when he found out that he got upgraded that much.
I met him. I met Mike Ness a while back, and he was a pretty cool guy. So.
Yeah, he seems all right now. Yeah, he wasn't that night, but he was pretty cool otherwise, I think.
Which is crazy, that's like the reason why I forget that these people, they're humans as well. So there's times I've worked for bands that I was a really huge fan of, and
Sure.
I'm not going to name any names, but there's some that I lost a lot of respect for them, which to me it kind of sucks because they are humans. They are going to have bad days, and they're not. When
Sure.
you're working for them, it's different than when they're on stage. So. But yeah, there's I met Mike Ness. He was a pretty cool guy, at least when I met him. So, but then there's some that you see him that their bad side, and we all have them, and it happens.
I was disappointed with Aerosmith for that because I just tried to like put up my hand like a high five because this is before people were doing the fist bump thing. So I was like, hey, give me some skin, and like.
Mhm.
The bass player, Brad, and Joey, the drummer, were the only two, and the other one just walked by and didn't even the time of the day. And it's like, come on, dude! I just spent all day setting up for stealing. I set up Steven Tyler's teleprompters, and then I had to put up the big giant snakes behind Joey's set. It was the just push play tour.
Yeah, I never worked with anyone that big.
It gave me the time of day to say, hey, thanks, whatever, But it is what it is. I'm sure they, if I was a rock star, I'd be sick of people trying to get their attention all day too. It's just like, leave me alone, dude. Thank you for buying my record, but just leave me alone.
Well, yeah, they say, yeah, they are humans, and when like this one band, like I was miserable, and so, like thinking back on it, I can't really be upset about it because, again, it's just like like if you go to work and you have coworkers who in the back room they're really crabby, but then they go out and around the customers and they're an A+, 5-star employee, and then back they're cussing, so it's the same as that. That's kind of the same thing.
Sure. What are some of your favorite bands from, say, if you like bands from the 70s, 80s, or 90s? Mine are basically the 70s. It's pretty much the hippie shit, like Dylan and the Dead and Hendrix and the Stones. And the 80s is definitely like Van Halen and Iron Maiden. And then the 90s is pretty much just Alice in Chains.
So that is really like it's going to depend. It's going to depend on my mood. Like I love like 50s, like oldies.
Oh, nice.
Like I wasn't really in the hippie stuff. Like, I mean, I like Led Zeppelin. I like, it, but it's not like I hear it and this is amazing.
Right.
80s, I wasn't really big in like the hair metal. Like, I listened to it a lot when I was a kid because my older brother really liked it.
We've got an older brother. You got no choice. You got to do it.
Yeah. So, but then like the 80s, pop music, I mean, everyone secretly loves that.
Like the Outfield and whatever poppy shit. Yeah. Or remember that old song? I want to be a cowboy, but you could be my cowgirl. That was like mid 80s. It was a band called Boys Don't Cry, and that's their only hit. I want to be a cowboy. I just thought of that for some weird reason.
Yeah, I'm sure if I heard it, like, oh yeah, duh, I know that.
Yeah, you probably would. It came out the same time that the Stones released their last album before they broke up temporarily in the 80s. That Dirty Work album where they did the cover of the Harlem Shuffle. It was on the radio the same time as Harlem Shuffle, so probably 85-ish, whatever.
I see you have in the back the Ramones.
Oh, good old Ramones. I got, and then there's Joey with over here. You got Joey with Lemmy standing there.
Yeah, the Ramones would probably be in my top 5 of all time favorite bands.
Dude, nice. They're my favorite punk band for sure.
Yeah, they're like between the Clash,
fucking simple shit, but I just love them.
Yeah, it is. And one band, I'm gonna say it, but one band that I just cringe, I cannot stand. I just despise more than anything. You ready for this?
Sure.
AC/DC.
That's okay.
I would give anything to never hear AC/DC ever again.
Don't look behind me. Okay, there we go. No, that's just hey, that's okay, dude. I got an AC/DC in the I was probably when like Back in Black came out. You know, they released Dirty Deeds the same year, I think, in 79, 80. Dirty Deeds was like an older album, but the band didn't like it. They released it like the same time after Bond died, I believe, in the U.S. at least.
Well,
anyway,
and being in Iowa, like being an Iowa, big Iowa Hawkeye fan, people, you know, when people hear me say that how much I hate AC/DC, you're like, how could you be an Iowa Hawkeye football fan and not like AC/DC because Back in Black is played so much? And I said, if I had a choice, I would give up watching Iowa football for the rest of my life if it meant I never had to hear that stupid song again.
Which one?
Back in Black, or just any AC/DC.
You should yell that long.
And then that's because, you know, you go to a game that song is played. I don't know how many times, like in the intros, it's that.
And they play Hell's Bells probably.
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand. In the 80s, I did not like Bon Jovi because everybody and their brother liked it. So therefore I did not like it. I was kind of a musical snob in high school. I was into U2 and REM and shit. And of course, all the hicks didn't like it. What's that gay shit? And then, of course. Later on, 5 years later, they liked it because they finally took them half a decade to catch on. But
I actually got kicked out of a Bon Jovi concert before I even got in. Totally sober.
Really? What'd you do?
They did. It was during a presidential election, and it was a free show. And so we were like, let's go see Bon Jovi, a free show. You know, and so at the time I had a heart monitor on me. So 2004, you know, like, you know, there's a presidential candidate there. So
shit. That might be a detonator.
And they see this on me. They're like, yeah, you need to get out. And security took me and got me away. And I'm like, oh,
they didn't understand what it was.
Like, I wish it was more of a badass story, but that's what happened.
God, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Which I heard the show kind of sucked from what I heard too. So
yeah, oh well.
It would have been cool though. I mean,
I bought one CD of theirs in '88 because I was in a car with like 6 chicks going to Target because I needed to get a microwave for my little dorm room at Augsburg in Minneapolis. Co-ed dorm, which is pretty nice. And so I'm in this car with like 5 chicks, and they're playing Bon Jovi. Bad medicine is what I need. Oh, you know. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to buy this. If these chicks like this, I better buy it. So, of course, I bought it on CD, and I don't know. I ended up sounding it or parting it or whatever, but I since do not have any Bon Jovi whatsoever. But
yeah, you get if you bartend, you'll get sick of Bon Jovi pretty fast. I was a bartender.
Well, you probably get sick of the Semisonic song too.
Yeah, there's always that, but like karaoke, and people always have to sing "Living on a Prayer," and then that Kid Rock song, "Picture."
Sure.
There's a lot of music you get sick of really fast if you're a bartender. If you bartend for many years, which I did in between everything, all the other fun things I did.
Nice. I worked at a bowling alley in Denver. Every night the damn manager would play "Closing Time" by Semisonic. Yeah. Talk about ruining a song.
And I heard that song's not even about. The singer was asked to write I don't remember the exact story, but it was about. He wrote that while his wife was in labor.
Wow.
And it was like something with the studio. I'll honestly have no idea what I'm talking about, but I thought I heard something that they wanted him to write a song about something, and he is like, all right, well, that's what he came up with. And it was actually, he wrote it, what was on his mind the whole time was his wife, because she was going in labor, or she was soon to have a baby. Again, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that would have been Dan Wilson, who also
I think they're from Minneapolis as well.
Yeah, Dan Wilson and John Munson. They've been in a band called Trip Shakespeare in the late '80s, which I got to see a few times, and then those two became Semisonic.
Yeah. Which is like their music, like that's like one of their worst songs too. If you actually listen to them,
I never
if
heard
you
anything
listen to a
else.
lot of their
I
stuff.
probably should.
Yeah, it's. I mean, out of everything, that's not their best one in my opinion.
All right.
But all those '90s, rock bands like that, they're just, when you asked about '90s, like that's where it's at with '90s.
'90s was a lot of one-hit wonders. Other than that, I mean, band Cake had a couple I liked, and that's and then there's a couple of Marilyn Mansons I liked, but that's all I can think of for '90s. Oh yeah, then the rock station used to play the frickin' crap load of frickin' Tool, and that one stupid Pantera song that I hate to this day. The one Pantera song. You know what I'm talking about. It's the song that has all the feedback. You know the song. Anyways.
Yeah.
Favorite food or junk food?
Oh man. Ever since I quit drinking, man, junk food is my thing. Man, like favorite food, it's obviously tacos. I could eat literally, if I had to choose to eat one thing for the rest of my life, it would be pizza. I eat pizza probably 3-4 times a week.
I'd be there. I'd say tacos, crunchy tacos ahead of that, but I do love some pie as well. I was on a Heggies kick for a while, but now I can't stand it.
On a what?
Heggies or Hedgies? I mean, here in Minnesota.
Oh, the brand.
Up here in Minnesota, yeah, it's kind of a thin crust, sort of like a bar pizza. It's got tons of cheese, and you literally are supposed to leave it in and kind of broil it so it gets all brown on top. But it's freaking pretty badass. Kind of spendy for a frozen pizza, but it's usually pretty good. But I don't know, dude. I'm kind of a freak. I still like Domino's. Whatever Domino's did, they changed it. A fresh Domino's right when you get it, it's freaking incredible. I think.
There's a Little Caesars just a block from here, so I get a lot of Little Caesars.
Good old Little
Caesars. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's
sure.
You'll hear a lot of people say how horrible it is. They're lying. They like it.
Oh yeah. Well, I like buying a pizza. If it's $5, I'm all down, man.
Yeah, I do love Domino's as well.
Yeah, I can't do 20 in a pie. How about dream vacations or any past vacations or vacation nightmares?
So it's kind of crazy. Right now I have on my mind, I want to go to Iceland.
Okay.
That is my big thing right now. So how I came across it is so on my Facebook, it showed that Minneapolis has flights to Iceland.
Really?
So I saw that. I'm like, you talked me into it. So they're like $800 one way.
Sure.
So and then there's people like, why would you want to go to Iceland? It's like, because probably no one else is there.
Well, just tell them I want to hang out with Bjork.
Yeah, it's and plus that's where the Vikings are from. So right. Yeah. So,
in fact, did you ever watch the Viking series? It was called Vikings for a while back.
I watched like the first season. I watched the first season, and it was okay, but it wasn't good enough. I couldn't get into it anymore.
Oh, I got into it big time. Season. And there was the goofy uncle, the boat maker. His name was, I believe, Floki, and he's the one that basically, as far as that series goes, is the one that discovered Iceland. So, was it getting?
Yeah, they said that they called it Iceland because it was actually green because they didn't want people to go there because they thought it was all going to be ice.
Yep, exactly.
So they called it Iceland, and to get less people to go there. In Greenland, they called Iceland, which is full of ice.
Yeah, just the opposite, exactly.
So clever.
Hell yeah, I think I like that.
And there's the movie, The Northman. Have you seen that one?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that was okay. There's one fight scene that was pretty badass.
Nice.
I would make a very bad Viking.
I think I could do it. I think I would be
too much of a wuss.
If I was 50 pounds lighter, I quit smoking cigarettes 2 years ago, so I gained 50 pounds. That's what I get for eating extra shit now that I eat all the time. But I could definitely be a Viking if I get back to my normal 220, but either way. Uh, Here you go. I'll give you a little Viking question since you're a Viking fan. I did this to Lombard and Lupkus too. Can you name all 6 of the Vikings' retired numbers?
Oh, this came up in one of their shows, and so I know Tarkington.
That's in the first one, number 10.
This is gonna be really bad that I don't know it, but I want to say is number 80.
Chris Carter, yep, he's one.
Yeah. Anything really before 1997, it's going to be tough for me. So
sure. Well, I can give you the rest. Number 53.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get any more.
53 was a guy named Walt Hilgenberger from the old days. Number 70, good old Jim Marshall. You know, he's the Viking that ran the wrong way after fumble. You run the wrong way. And unfortunately went all the way into the end zone before he realized it's like, had he just stopped, at least it wouldn't have been a touchdown. I think they even gave the other team a touchdown back then. It's either that or it was a safety. I forget what they did, and you know, that's the year I was born, was 70. So I'm like pissed because I'll never be able to get a Vikings jersey unless it says Marshall on it, you know. I was going to be a player named DUNCAN'S someday with number 70, but I guess I could always make a custom one. 77, number 77 is poor Corey Stringer.
Oh yeah, Corey Stringer. Yeah, I should have known that.
Yeah, anybody who didn't catch the other show or you're younger, the old Viking helmet, the old NFL helmets used to have no ventilation at all except the holes in the ear. So the players' brains would literally freaking cook during spring training in that hot, humid heat, you know. And poor Corey had like a heat stroke and / sunstroke and basically died. So
yeah, I remember that press conference with Randy Moss just crying and talking about, you know, like, what about his kid? And
yeah, the whole family, it just sucks. Here's to Corey Stringer as well. Rest in peace, buddy. And then the last one would be number 88, which is Alan Page, which is weird because it's not really a receiver number. He was more of a defensive linebacker, if I remember right. But true story, Alan Page hit on my mom once. My dad was a bartender / bouncer at Mettler's in Mankato, which is now a full strip club. But this is the 60s, so the girls kind of wore clothes, and it was like go-go dancers with tall boots. I think it was right before they went to pasties. But my mom was there waiting for my dad because they met each other at college at Mankato. She was waiting for him to get off the shift. It was late. The bar was closing. And Alan Page sits down next to my mom. My dad, he's like, "Hey, bud, just so you know, she's with me, buddy." He's like, "Oh, okay, all right." My dad was like 6'4", you know, and he was pretty thick back then. So Alan Page said, "Yeah, all right, I hear you, buddy. I hear you." Otherwise, my skin would be browner, right? Otherwise. Anyways, how about? Oh, what's your next Viking jersey?
Oh, hopefully it's going to be a Jane Daniels Vikings jersey.
Oh my God, me too. That's totally who I want, man.
That's hopefully what it's going to be.
God, I'm hoping somebody in the 1 or 2 takes JJ McCarthy or whoever.
Yeah, this whole offseason has been really stressful because there are so many awesome scenarios, and I hate to say it, but I still don't trust Kwesi with the draft picks.
Me neither. I'm afraid he's going to give away 3 number 1s for fucking JJ.
Well, I'm afraid, like, you know, we're going to come out of the first round with Byron Murphy and Bo Nix. That's what I'm planning on. So all these crazy fun scenarios, sometimes I'm like, all right, I need to not get my hopes up. I mean, I do honestly believe they're going to trade up. I really do think they're going after Daniels or May.
I think so too. If they don't, I'd be happy. Byron Murphy and Penix I could live with, but not freaking Bo Nix.
And I just don't see it with McCarthy. I don't understand why he's such a big deal right now.
I think KOC likes him because he's just like Kirk. he basically he's gonna just do what he's told, just like Kirk did. You know what I
You
mean?
know, and I love Kirk, but you know, having someone different like Jane Daniels, like what he can do, that's just something different
Yes,
that we're not used to as Vikings fans.
exactly. That's why we need somebody else that can go out and make the plays when they need to, instead of throwing for 4 yards when it's 3rd and 8, like Check Down Charlie used to do. And I do. Jaden Daniels, you're right. If we can get him, dude, I will probably run around my house naked 5 times, or maybe
Yeah,
3 times. I'll probably be out of breath after the first one, but whatever.
you know, and you're constantly like, hearing stuff about like, oh, there's a chance that you know the Commanders could take McCarthy.
Dude,
So
go right ahead.
yeah,
I'd rather have Jaden Daniels or even May before JJ.
May I wasn't a big fan of, but I'm really, you know, watching him more. I could live with May. You
Sure.
know, they're comparing him to Justin Herbert, which I can kind of see, but still, I'm all about Jaden Daniels.
Nice.
And his NFL combine profile, NFL.com has him. Do you see who his pro comparison is?
Not yet.
Tyrod Taylor.
Jeez, what?
Which is obviously BS because he's gonna be just way better than Tyrod Taylor.
Good God. Yeah, if we get somebody like Daniels, I'll be getting a Daniels jersey as well. In the past, I kind of got weird ones. Like I had Anthony Barr, and then my last one was Daniil Hunter. Obviously, I got to get a new one because I don't like wearing a jersey of a player that doesn't play for us anymore. You know.
Yeah.
Or especially if they went to another team after playing for us. Now, like I'll wear a Harrison Smith all day because he's obviously going to retire as a Viking. But
I have a John Randall jersey I could wear. I know he went to.
Oh hell!
I think the Seahawks.
Did he really?
Is that right?
Oh, that's okay though. It's kind of
different. Yeah, because it's John Randall and
it's John Randall. Fuck yeah! How about favorite?
I have a Dante Culpepper jersey. I have a Moss jersey. You know, I'll wear those still.
I had a Moss T-shirt, just had Moss on the back. I was in a Viking bar in Denver called Cadillac Jacks. It was the game where Moss walks off the field early before the game's over because he's all pissed off that they're going to lose to the Cardinals. And he walks off the field, just goes into the locker room early, like a minute and a half early. I went home and I frickin' burned the shirt.
Yeah.
It's like, what's this bullshit? Leaving before the team? Fucking good. I think they traded him the next year after that. Just like, whatever, dude. Fuck you. I mean, I still love him anyway, but at the time, I frickin' hated his guts for that. How about favorite movies?
Oh man, you're gonna get me going here. I'm a big horror movie guy.
Okay, just like Rob Zombie.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not a big fan of his movies. I hated his Halloween. I like Devil's Rejects, House of Thousand Corpses. But I'm big into like a couple movies I could watch like from like, you know, once it's over, I could start it over and watch it again. No Country for Old Men, Shawshank Redemption. Actually, when I was in college, I had to take a class. I had to find another class to take for credits, and I was going to take a film appreciation class. Like, awesome, you know, let's do this. So I get there like on the first day, and you see like the syllabus, and like it's showing like the movies that we're supposed to appreciate, and it was movies like Citizen Kane and shit like that. I'm like, I went and dropped the class because like it's like I can't do it with, you know, movies like that. The movies I appreciate are movies like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is one of my all-time favorite movies.
However, a Hitchcock you probably could have.
What's that?
Maybe a Hitchcock flick you would have liked had it been for old. His are pretty creepy.
Oh yeah, Psycho. You know, that's a classic. The Monster Squad.
Okay.
There
was one I can't think of.
I'm a big Coen Brothers fan.
I love that.
And probably I think my top one would be, and I'm going to count the trilogy all as one, is Back to the Future.
Nice.
Yeah, and my daughter, she's a huge fan of it too. So it's one of those movies that, you know, her and I can always watch. So
that's true. Yeah, if they're on TV, I catch myself watching it, even though I've seen them all a million times. But
Yeah, the old like 80s cheesy horror movies. Those are like Ice Cream Man, you got Motel Hell,
Fright Night.
Fright Night, of course. Yeah, all the Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are all.
How about the original Leprechaun with Jennifer
Oh yeah,
Aniston?
I definitely have. I have a huge DVD collection. I do have every single one of all the Friday 13th, Halloween, um, and all the Leprechauns,
Yeah,
even
that's right.
Leprechaun in a Hood and in Space.
Nice. And Kevin Bacon's in the first Friday the
Yeah, he
13th.
is with Jennifer Aniston. Yeah.
She was in the first Friday the 13th as well, you mean? No.
No, she was in
The first
Leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Kevin Bacon's in the first Friday the 13th. Yeah, he's laying there.
Ye-
This one coming
No,
down.
yeah, Friday the 13th. Yeah, he is.
All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. The first one. Yeah.
nice.
And
I
you
guess
got, I think Johnny Depp's first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street,
that's right. That's right.
or one of his, like the first that put him out there.
I'd have to go with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Pirates of the Caribbean. I just love them. Not to mention the songs. Like I said before, True Romance is number one favorite movie. It's written by Tarantino. He didn't direct it, but it's his screenplay. It's got like 15 major actors in it, so I highly recommend True Romance. Of course, Shawshank is in there. If that's on TV, I gotta watch it. This just happened last night or even earlier today. Kong Skull Island.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I catch myself watching that. If it's on, I gotta watch it.
I watched last night The Last Voyage of the Demeanor.
Okay.
If you've heard of that.
It sounds familiar. I haven't seen it.
It's about Dracula, about how him coming. He was on the ship and where he.
Is that
how
kind
he
of
was
recent?
brought. What's that?
Is that a fairly new one?
Yeah, it's a year. I don't think it would be 2 years
Okay.
old.
Okay. I remember the ad for it. I just never got around to seeing
A
it.
year to 2 years old.
Okay.
It was okay.
All right.
I was kind of disappointed, but
Here's a classic vampire movie for you. Not the more recent one with Nicolas Cage called Rampino.
Renfield.
Not that one. This one is way older. It's called The Vampire's Kiss.
Oh yeah, that's 80s.
Yeah, he thinks he thinks he's bitten by a vampire. He thinks he's turning into a vampire. He goes out and buys plastic teeth that he tries to bite women's necks with. And then he upgrades to something else that helps pierce the skin. And then his secretary, Elva, too late.
There's actually like a conspiracy theory about Nicolas Cage and how he's like immortal, or it's silly, but it's fun to hear about. I don't know if it was like that he was a vampire at one point or something, but it's definitely about like how he's immortal, and you'd have to look into it.
Sure, good old Nicholas Coppola.
Yeah.
As far as Fast Times of Bruce Montana hadn't changed his name yet.
Nicolas Cage is such as an actor that he's so bad. He is so bad at acting, and that's what makes him awesome.
Just, dude, I love freaking Ghost Rider.
Oh, see, I never liked that. I never. It was okay, but
I'm into motorcycles and shit, so that's part of it too.
It was like one of those that I watched once, and that was probably good enough.
How about golf or bowling or both?
Golf? Oh, not for me. And my backyard is actually a golf course, and Zach Johnson has his thing going on there. So every now and then, the hole that's right behind my place, there's a lot of celebrities. Like I saw it with Bill Murray one day, just out the backyard, him back there golfing. That's about the closest I'll get to golf. Like I'm not a fan of golf at all. Bowling.
You live on a golf course?
I don't live on it. It's my backyard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not considered like the golf course, but it's where Zach Johnson got.
There's like a chipping green or something, or what?
What's that?
But there's like a chipping green or what?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a hole there. I know.
Oh,
I don't know anything about golf.
Oh, there's an actual hole there. Okay. That's
Yeah,
pretty.
so it's like there's a small backyard and then a fence, and then there's a hole right there. And so there's been a lot of celebrities that if you can time it out right, once a year he does it, and you'll be able to see some like Kurt Warner. It was pretty cool. Like so obviously like you're looking out your backyard and Bill Murray's out there, but I wasn't able to go over there like I could have, but that's all the way on the other side. That was way too far.
That's cool though. I grew up on a golf course in my last 2 or 3 years of high school, and the ladies' tee was off our porch. Then the men's was a little farther down, of course. And we had one big side of the house because it was like a 2-level townhouse attached to another one. And some guys, I think, would purposely aim for the side of our house. And my dad would run out there after they'd make their hit, and he'd grab their golf ball, and he's like, "Nope, haven't seen nothing." Especially when he knew that they purposely did it. And he'd keep their balls, and then he'd sell them back to the golf course at the end of the year, to help pay for the siding with a broken window,
Yeah. My buddy likes taking his drone and flying it out there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I always wanted to be that person with an air horn, but I never did it. I don't want to get beat up because that would be a way I'd get beat up.
I got like 3 more for you if you got the time.
I don't have anything to do till One Bar Lubbock's go live again on Tuesday, so I'm good till then.
Right on, dude. Well, what are some of your early jobs? Any kind of early shit job that you hated doing or was happy you got fired or happy to quit from?
Oh man, there's like I said, in between everything like I was doing, I was a bartender, so I worked for some really horrible bars. I worked for Menards. That kind of sucked. It was like I thought it'd be really a lot funner than what it was, but it wasn't that great. One job, a fun fact about me. One I can say in a non-creepy way that I have slept in a cemetery probably over 10 times.
Nice.
And I can say that in a non-creepy way because over the summer when I was in college, I worked in a cemetery and I helped dig graves and do the burials.
Wow.
So the city I lived in, it had one big cemetery, and it was owned by the city. So the job I actually got was just a summer job mowing the city parks. Well, my supervisor was in charge of the cemetery. So we had like the full timers, if they weren't able to go out there and help do the dig the graves or do the burials, depending on what the schedule was and the time of the funeral, I had to go do it because my supervisor, family friend, known him for years, and he felt I was the only one out of the summer help that'd be comfortable doing it. And it wasn't that bad. So I don't know if it's a policy everywhere, but if there was a funeral going on, no matter where you were at, you could not do any work. You couldn't even be in the furthest 2 corners from it and like pick weeds. You weren't allowed to. So back then, there was no smartphone. So what am I going to, do while I wait? And so I was hungover one day and my boss is like, I don't know, go over there, go take a nap. So I did. And that was just kind of my thing while we would wait. So
And then you woke up the next morning, you're like, shit, I was here all night.
Yeah, no, it's nothing. It was never really creepy. Like when I tell people, they're always really creeped out by it, but it wasn't. It was just like playing in the dirt,
Well, Lupicus actually was a great. He was actually a funeral director for like 10 years.
Lupicus was?
Yeah. He told me that in his interview. He
I did not know that.
Went to school for it and everything. He was an actual funeral director.
Huh? I did not know that.
And I said, well, that's your white pale skin is very fitting. I said,
yeah.
Thing, Okay, I guess I said on my last interview, my worst job was probably shoveling horse manure that had rats burrowing in and out of the matted down hay. But that was probably my first job, and it kind of sucked. But when I got paid $20 in cash, I was pretty happy about it because cigarettes cigarettes were $1.25 at the bowling alley back then. So, what the hell? Oh yeah, your first car, and you ever get into motorcycles?
No, I'm not a motorcycle person. I just never have been. My first car was a hand-me-down. It was I couldn't tell you the year, but I would say probably like a 1990. I don't know, 95. I'll just say Chevy S10, and I love that thing.
I got my old '02 Ford F-150 still. I got it in 2016. It was already 14 years old, only had 97,000. I'm still only up to like 143,000 on that thing. So I'm planning on having
like the back seat, you had to slide the front to get in the back, and then it was the seats, or they would fold up into the side. So uncomfortable.
Right.
I would assume they don't make them like that anymore.
Probably not. Mine had the little extra seat in the back, luckily, with the little half door that was like a little half suicide door that opened up the opposite way. Yeah. I don't think I ever had anybody ever sit back there once. But actually, that wasn't my first car, but that's what that's my little truck I drive now when I'm not riding my bike. How about your favorite comedy or favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian.
Or it could be a couple.
Well, I watch The Office religiously. I literally I still binge watch that, and I would like stand up. Are you talking like stand up comedian or just?
Yeah, well, yeah, any kind of comedians or any kind of comedy movies. Like mine is pretty much Dumb and Dumber. That's on the top of the list, and then Richard Pryor and Red Fox and probably George Carlin in there as well.
Oh, George Carlin, I absolutely love that guy. I love all the one-liners. I really Rodney Dangerfield. He's got a lot of really good one-liners. But I was always a big Adam Sandler fan, and then I grew up, and he wasn't as funny.
Right. This little baby talk.
Yeah, like I remember when I first saw Billy Madison, I just thought it was like the funniest thing ever. And then it's like I got older, and I'm just kind of like, all right.
I still like Little Nicky though.
Yeah. And like, out of all of his movies, I think The Wedding Singer is probably the best because it's just there's just a few random lines. Like Steve Buscemi's character is just awesome.
Right.
Yeah, but actual like comedy movies, I don't know if I'm just having a brain freeze right now or if I don't. I mean, I watch like so many like horror movies. That's like,
sure.
When I go home and I'm like, like trying to find a movie, I'm only looking into like the horror section. So,
well, the second Evil Dead 2 and 3 were pretty funny. Those had comedy in them.
Yeah, and the Army of Darkness.
Yeah, the third one. Yeah, the very first one, dude, I think was actually pure evil. I can't watch the first one by myself, dude. It's so freaking scary.
Yeah, there's
the cheese gets quality too, which makes it more realistic. The
remakes are nothing like what the originals were.
Oh, no way! I'm pissed
they made those kind of more serious, like actually trying to be scary. And
yeah, the first one was scary as oh my god.
And I think
recall.
I don't know if it was real or not, but I think I saw Rob Zombie's remaking Christine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't know. Like I said, I like Devil's Rejects and I like House of Thousand Corpses. Other than that, I'm not really a big Rob Zombie fan. I actually have a Rob Zombie story. It was backstage at a festival. He was there, and I had been drinking, and so I went up to him and I was talking to him, and somehow his movies got brought up, and drunk me said, "Your movies would be a lot better if your wife wasn't in them." And he just gave me a look, and everyone was like looking at me, and I stopped and I turned around, and of course, Sherry Moon Zombie was standing right behind me.
Oh, no.
I don't think they really cared because they were probably like, "Who's this nutsack?" Like, no, we don't care what you think, you know.
She's
But
pretty hot.
yeah, it was like, oh, awesome. And then actually, Zombie, he was actually still cool to me. The rest of that, the rest of that day. But I'm like, man, out of my filter, just somehow it came out. And of course, I mean, I didn't even know she was there. And then I stop and I just see everyone. I'm like looking around for laughing reactions, and no one was laughing. And then I realized why, because she was standing right there.
Damn, she's.
Oh,
I think she's hot.
I don't know.
The third one, the third one of that series.
Of which one?
The one after Devil's Reject.
Oh, 31
they aren't dead yet.
Is it 31 from Hell? Is that or is there something different?
Yeah, I think that's what's called 3 from Hell.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I think 31 is just
they go down to
a
Mexico.
different movie. Yeah, that one wasn't as good, but
yeah,
like I said, I'm a big fan of The Office. So Rainn Wilson is in it in
the first one, yeah.
House of 1,000 Corpses, yeah,
Yep.
And that was right before he started doing The Office.
I have a Rob Zombie. I dropped my old lady off at the entrance to Fiddler's Green in Denver for Iron Maiden. Rob Zombie was opening up. He was already playing when I dropped her off. Because it was a big long walk, so I let her off there. I went and I parked, chugged a couple beers in the parking lot as I walk in. I get in there and everyone's like, and we're down, like we're on the floor down by the stage. We're pretty close, and these people are freaking out. They're going, "Dude, you missed it. Rob Zombie came right down here, and he fucking had his arm around your wife or girlfriend for like an entire song, singing the whole time with his arm around her the whole time." And she was just like, she didn't really care for him. After that, she fucking loved him. She's like, "I love Rob Zombie now."
Yeah, he's actually a cool person. Like he
totally was cool.
Yeah, he's not full of himself. Like I've met a lot of big time musicians, and some are, like for what I said earlier, sometimes you have to ignore it. But there's like one of the coolest ones ever was Vinnie Paul.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we had a show with it was Hell Yeah, when he was touring with Hell Yeah, and it was actually in a back lot outside of a strip club here in town. So he after the show, he wanted to go to the strip club, obviously, and so I was in there VIP with Vinnie Paul, and it was just like, holy shit! Like I'm getting paid to sit here, get drunk with Vinnie Paul at a strip club.
Awesome.
He's just like that guy. Like if he looked at you and you weren't taking a shot of Jaeger, he'd be like, "What? Like, why are you even here then?" Like,
what's your problem?
Yeah, like that guy. Like,
oh god, I can't.
Between Jaeger and Crown, I've never seen someone drink so much in such a short amount of time and just continue to be like, "Oh, all right,"
God, I can't.
Like it was nothing. Like he was drinking water. Well,
he obviously had a nice tolerance for it, I guess.
So,
all right, I got one last one. You got any pets or tattoos?
Do I have any what?
Any pets or tattoos?
I have no pets, but I have all.
You got some
yeah, I have all cartoons.
Very nice.
Yeah, then I have over here a pirate, and on my chest I have my daughter's name. She wrote her name, and her middle name is my grandma's name, and I got a copy of that. So it says Della Adeline in their writing. I have that on my chest.
Oh, cool.
I have no pets. I want to get a dog. I plan on getting a dog here soon. I just don't have the time for the responsibility.
Sure.
So, but yeah, my daughter's been really bugging me about getting a dog. So I think I will here sooner than later.
Right on, man.
So
I've got about 10 tats. I do have, and they're all kind of cartoony a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But I do have an actual Yosemite Sam.
Nice, yeah.
FTW up in his hat there. Varmint, get over here, varmint. And that's partially because in high school, my buddy and I nicknamed each other. He was Elmer and I was Yosemite. So
Yeah, the Looney Tunes I have is just Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
well, that's cool.
I don't know.
At least it's not like everybody else who has a friggin' Taz.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't have that. And there's always people like, well, you should get so and so. You should get them tattooed. And you're like, no.
Right.
Just like these random people, like or random cartoons. I'm like, okay, I'll get it for you, just because you asked me
yeah,
to.
just for you. Okay. I actually almost got the Starkist tuna guy, Charlie. I thought about getting him once, and I thought about getting the owl from the Tootsie Roll commercial. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll pop? And he's like, a 1, a 2, a 3, and he bites it 3. I almost got that owl because my grandma Helen liked owls, so I was thinking about getting that cartoon of that tattoo of that owl at one point, but it just never happened. Yeah, whatever.
Tattoos are addicting.
Yeah, they are big time. Well,
So,
I guess that's it for me. Anything you like to add, or any closing statements or lines of wisdom?
no, I'm just really looking forward to continuing watching your show. It's going to be fun. It's just going to get bigger and better. And it's.
I think it will, because eventually I'm going to be able to have people on where we do shit live, or where we have like 2 or 3 people on, and then we can have some comments in there, And I think that's probably the biggest way to get bigger, is doing a live show where I bring people on just to bullshit about whatever,
Yeah, it was fun. I was really excited. I was like, well, because we had planned on doing this, later, Tuesday. Oh no, let's do it today. I'm excited. I want to do it.
Awesome, man. The more content, the better. I'm already up to 51. I got like 4 more subscribers just today, just from giving out business cards. So to the kids working at the grocery store.
How many do you got? How many subscribers do you got?
Like 51. I need like 449
to go live,
to be able to get the thank you donation button, as well as earning money from YouTube and the ads. But besides the subscription, you got to have 3,000 hours of viewing time, and that's going to take a minute. But eventually, I'll have more shows and more stuff. So
yeah,
I'm trying. I just changed the name of my jambalaya one to Arrested in New Orleans. I figured that might get more people to click on it. So we'll see.
Yeah, they'll see my name, so you'll get like this video will get like 1 million views or none. It's one or the other.
I bet I'll get a lot. Like my haircut one, I added at the end, haircut gone wrong, because I wasn't getting any clicks. And once I did that, it tripled overnight, just from putting haircut gone wrong. Even though he cut my hair just fine, so what the hell? All right, Harmsy. Well,
thank you so much. This was, like I said, this was fun.
Applause to good old Patrick Harmsy Harms down there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I actually have an aunt who lives there, so when I head down there, I'll hit you up, dude.
Awesome, definitely do that.
Cool, man. Thanks for watching Lord Duncan's Rock and World. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. The Twins won again, so thank you very much for that.
Old Vikings. Jaden Daniels.
Yes, all the way. Hail Harmsy, and Skol Vikings. Guys, take care. Have a great night.
Too.